In this video we're going to tie a bonefish gotcha. Great fly for the Bahamas or any bonefish for that matter. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take our thread about a hook eye's length away from the eye of the hook. Then we're going to tie in our eyes. Now you can use a lot of different types of eyes for this fly. I either use Beadchain eyes like I'm using here in the video, or I use a medium brass eye. It's just personal preference, and it depends on the depth that you are going to be fishing. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little piece of pearl minnow body, and we pull out there. It comes with this little cotton core that's on the inside of it. You want to pull that out. All we're looking for is just the ends of this minnow body. Then we tease out some of the fibers here. We're just going to tie these in around the shank of the hook. And we want to tie them in so that they're about half of the length of the shank of the hook. I've got mine kind of pre-measured here for us. All we're going to do is just take that material. We're going to wrap back down the shank of the hook. If you get it a little too long, you can trim it short. Now the next material that we're going to tie in is going to be some pearl, flat pearl diamond braid. We're just going to tie this in right at the front, wrap back, then we're going to take our thread to the eye of the hook. Then we're going to take this flat diamond braid, we're going to wrap it forward. I like to kind of go around the eyes to finish the fly off. Just kind of ties it all together and covers up any extra thread wraps. Then we can capture it, trim out the excess. And I found at this point in the fly it's actually easiest to invert the fly. And the next material that we're going to add is going to be some craft fur. And you have to be very careful that you don't use too much craft fur. This fly is meant to be tied fairly sparse. And you do want to remove all the short, fluffy fibers from the base once you trim it away. And I do that just by pinching. I just pinch the craft fur tight about an inch away from the butts. And then I just pull out all that extra fuzz. And then at this point, you can see we have a big long piece. It's too long for our fly, so what we want to do is we want to measure out about twice the length of our fly. So I just kind of eyeball it. Then what I do is I just take my fingernail and I just kind of roughly break off some of those extra tips. And that'll bring the fly or the craft fur to a nice taper. And then all we're going to do is we're just going to take that little piece of craft fur and we're going to lay it onto our fly here. I'm going to take a couple wraps that I'm towards the back of the head there, and we're just going to tie it in just by biting down with a couple tight wraps. Then we can get in there nice and close with our scissors. And we can capture that craft fur, some nice very tight wraps. Then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to take a couple strands of crystal flash here. I take two nice long strands. We're just going to take this crystal flash and we're going to tie it in two pieces on each side. So I just take two pieces, tie it in, then I take two pieces and just simply tie it in on the other side. I like them to kind of slope upward slightly, the same angle of the wing. Then we can just finish off the head just by covering up all our work. And you can whip finish with a few turns. Then when we trim our crystal flash, I like to trim it so that it is longer, just a little bit longer than our collar. Zoom out here a little bit for you. I like it to just reach back just a little bit farther than that tan craft fur does. Then to finish the fly, I like to super glue it. I use a little bit of brush on Zap-A-Gap here. And I just make sure that I cover that entire thread, and then I do put a little splotch right in the middle of the eyes. Let that soak into the diamond braid. And this fly imitates a little shrimp, and it'll ride just like so in the water, hook up, and very, very good fly for bonefish. It's been used for many, many years. It's caught lots of bonefish, and it's a must-have in any bonefish fly box. And you can find all the materials to tie the gotcha on our website, intheriffle.com. There you'll find links to all the materials to tie the fly, and that is the Bonefish Gotcha.